Okay, let's go live. Okay. Okay, so sorry, I'm back, man. I just kind of wasn't ready to go live, and I was putting my title and everything together, and then I'm like, damn, I'm going live, right? Without realizing it. So I always got to have something to drink, and just had a couple of notes I want to put together. So I'm back, and thank you for stopping in here at Nine World Chronicles. This is me, your boy, just kind of making sure my YouTube is going, and I want to monitor my live stream over there too. So let me kind of get this. There we go. There it is. All right. We're there too. So let me kind of... All right, cool. Okay. So obviously, like, AI is a big concern for people, and algorithmically, it's good for me to talk about it, right? So that's why we're doing this stuff here, right? This is why we're having these conversations, right? But AI is an interesting phenomenon because we technically, righteously, have been talking about AI for 3,000 years. Like, AI sounds like it's a new phenomenon, it feels like it's a new phenomenon, but it's actually not even a new phenomenon. Like, AI isn't anything new, at least not in how. Like, humans have been telling the stories about intelligence, like artificially developed, and like those same conversations about will, about agency, about ownership, all those things come about. Now, the first mythology I really want to look at seems like it's kind of a hockey assist in this AI world. Like, the first one I like to talk about is this myth of Prometheus and the theft of fire. So when we think about this kind of mythology, we're usually kind of talking about something new, like a new introduction, an upgrade in the relative technology. That's what fire meant for us, right? It wasn't just that it was fire, but it's also what fire meant. Like, not just having fire itself and being able to cook or clean, but just like having illumination in the night allowed greater hours of study, right? For instance, it allowed people to start to smelt different types of metals, and then what each of those things are. Like, that research would lead to understanding like gases and things like that. So this is why Prometheus was actually punished, because it was the example of the sharing of this knowledge. And what they were saying ultimately is that you're giving people way too much access to knowledge. Like, you're tripping. Fundamentally, this is what they're saying. This is why it was so Prometheus. This is so important that Prometheus got punished for what he did. Like, and this is like it's a great example because Prometheus was a Titan, and this is the race of divine beings that existed before the Olympian gods, right? So according to Greek myth, Prometheus himself, he defied Zeus and stole fire from Mount Olympus to give it to humanity. And this is very simple. They weren't just about, cook food. This was about like them gaining knowledge, right? This is technology. This is craftsmanship. Like, think of all the crafts that would be born off of, I know how to sustain a fire, like making a kiln, right? Like, all the forging of metals and all the craftsmanship that comes out of that, all the innovation that would come from, now I know how to heat various metals, and this combines with this, or this doesn't combine with this. Like, just think about all the mastery of metal that came along with this. So before fire, humanity was far more weak and dependent. After fire, hey, it was a whole different thing after fire. Like, once we have fire, we can make tools. Now we can build cities. We can forge weapons, right? We could shape metal, and that allowed us to start having some control around the world, right? So Prometheus didn't just give us fire; he gave us power. Like that. That's why this had to be like acted on, right? And this is the time period. Like, we're talking roughly 700, 500 BCE. So this is when Greek civilization was heavily forming, right? This is it. This is when they were coming into new forms of like government, philosophy, engineering. So they were challenging like how this was shaping the world. And that was the deeper tension about what was going on here in this mythology, right? How much power should humans have, right? Like, that's a valid question. Given, okay? Given, that's a valid question. How much power should humans have given what we've done with it, right? What crosses the boundaries that should be reserved for somebody with a higher pay grade than us? At what point do we say some power needs to be reserved for the gods, people with a higher pay grade than us, right? Like, and this isn't this feels like a very modern question, but this is an ancient question. This is what old mythologies were talking about with Prometheus. He's like, hey, how much power? Like these guys, like you just gave a monkey a loaded gun. Essentially, that was what he did. Essentially, we were like, according to Greek myth, according to the Greek world, this isn't me saying this, okay? In the context of the Greek mythology, like humans were buck wilding, man. Like, how you gonna come down here and give them fire and they're already savages, right? Like, this is what it really is. They're not civilized at this point, right? Now, probably they never want them to get civilized, but that's a whole nother conversation, right? But this is what like Prometheus ultimately enables. Like he enables, like this is a multiplier of our knowledge. Like our intellectual brains, our devious intellectual, highly evolved brains were like, what can I do with fire? And you see that all the time. People will look at a pile of garbage and be like, what can I do with that? Right. And figure something out of it, right? That's human innovation, right? Imagine you could do that and without fire. What does fire add to, whatever you would do? I'm finding metals, whatever. I find dirt and somehow I figure out how to make glass out of it. Whatever it is that your innovation, right? Because these are just layers of fire, right? Like we got different levels of fire here, right? So all these multipliers helped us do other things. We start creating art. The AI helps us generate code. We can analyze information at faster rate. So like this is a key thing. Like you got to think about it. Even like say some of the best physicists in the world, right? The top physicists in the world may still work in concert with someone who's a mathematician because I need someone who can run these sets of data for me for whatever level of my research. Maybe my skill isn't in running that research. Maybe my skill is in I'm able to decode what comes out of that, right? They're two different skill sets, right? And we get that, right? So this is where like AI starts to be a fuel. Like it allows you to process information. It's giving you new ways or new lenses to look at the world. And this is what we have to question. Like what ultimately is a spark that AI is going to give mankind? And this is really what Prometheus represents. It's the theft of fire. This is it matter because knowledge shapes civilization, and it can go up or down. We don't know. We don't know that everything we're going to get out of AI is going to be good, right? It's just like when we got fire, we didn't know that a bunch of shit was going to get burnt down. I mean, there's a lot of tragedies associated with fire that have come along the way, right? There's whole units full of people in hospitals where fire was a big problem, in their life, right? So we have to be knowledge of when we're talking about fire and like what fire actually means. This is the power of fire, okay? So this is one Greek myth. You see how old this is, right? This myth is like 2,000 years old. It's a Greek myth, right? 500 CE, right? Or BCE. So if BCE, we're talking like 3,000 years. Yeah, like I'm saying, this is 3,000-year-old mythology. They're already talking. They're already saying like knowledge and like what it can do to civilization significantly matters, right? So that's like the main point when we start really looking at this Prometheus myth. Okay, it's all about the passage of knowledge. Okay. Now, the next level we go to, this is another Greek myth, right? So this is all stacked up here. We got Prometheus, and now we got this dude, Pygmalion, right? And this, I'm telling you guys right here, this is 100% an AI story. Like, think about what he does. Like, this guy, man, this guy right here, Pygmalion, he falls in love with his own creation. Like, this is a Greek story that was known about, like, was recorded by this Roman poet. This is like 8 CE, right? So it's common era. So we're still, we getting up there. We're over 2,000 years ahead of this time, right? Clearly, right? And he was a sculptor who lived on this island called Cyprus. And according to the myth, he became so dissatisfied with regular people around him, he decided to make his own ideal companion. And he used ivory and he sculpted this woman so beautiful and perfect that he fell in love with her, right? So he was doing all the stuff, man. He dressed her, he spoke with her, like gave her gifts, the full nutty buddy as far as I'm concerned, right? Like you're dressing her, you're speaking to her, you're giving her gifts. I know if you're giving her gifts that you're connecting something to that too. I don't want to hear that. I'm sure you're quite amorous as well. And he treated the statue as if she was already alive. And then the myth says that Aphrodite took pity on him and granted him his wish. And then all of a sudden, this artificial woman comes alive. And at first glance, like on the surface, like when you give it the surface viewpoint of this, you're like, oh yeah, this is a very, very romantic story, right? Like he falls in love, right? It's fairy tale. But underneath is like is a whole different idea, man. Like you weren't actually in love with a person, you were in love with something that you created, something that reflected your desires. Like this wasn't really love. Like love, like this is a thing that can't reject you, it can't disagree with you, it can't challenge. Like it's nothing there. So and this kind of reflects, like, I mean, think about it. This is like there's chatbots, there's all kinds of like digital assistants. We're already used to those. We're already used to digital assistants on a point that they don't, look, people, let's be real, people have AI boyfriends and girlfriends right now. Yeah, personalized artificial person. Like, so, we've got the full gamut. And what he's reflecting right here, like this idea in mythology 100% exists. Like, and think about, they were thinking about these ideas. This is an artificial intelligence, 100%. This is an artificial intelligence, right? She did not exist. And does she have agency? So these myths early on were about agency, about like what she, because she didn't choose any of this, right? She chooses none of this. You're just brought into this. And I'm like, okay. I mean, we kind of get it. Like imagine someone buys like a sex doll, right? Imagine you're a sex doll and then all of a sudden you become alive. Like that's a horrible situation to be in now. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's a whole different thing if we look at it like that, right? So this is one of the great stories that I think that are in this, the idea of early signs of talking about AI, like how we would deal with complicated issues, like because while he's there, like he's not thinking anything about what she wants. He didn't give a damn, right? You look good, I'm here, so that's good enough, right? And that kind of gets into the whole like Frankenstein is kind of that too. Like we forget the thing about Frankenstein. Like, is Frankenstein creating an intelligence? Is it a new person? When Frankenstein's creating those Frankenstein monsters, is he creating a whole new person? I don't know if it's that, or Frankenstein is bringing back the memories for someone else, right? Like, is Frankenstein simply bringing back a being? So he's just reanimating, right? Am I right on Frankenstein? I believe Frankenstein's just reanimation. So this isn't creation of an idea. But I got another one that is for you. And this is also another 3,000-year-old story right here. This is another 3,000-year-old story. And it's the story of the Golem, right? And we know this is an intelligence because at the end of it, the Golem starts tripping. Or in the story, the Golem starts tripping. The Golem had its own agency, right? Now remember, this is an old story. This is old mythology right here, right? And this is them understanding, like they created him, this from this area of Prague, I think it comes from. This is like 12th 16th century. So this is old mythology. And they created this golem with the purpose of protecting, like their community was being threatened. So they were like, yeah, we need somebody to come over and handle this business for, right? So they make him out of clay. They inscribe him with like the sacred words and the divine names. And, they set him up like you're going to obey commands. You're going to serve the community faithfully. But after time, man, he becomes more difficult to control, right? Like it literally, like he grows too powerful. And then he's like, yeah, I'm doing whatever I want to do. So they have to like remove the sacred in scriptures and bring him back to just being regular, man. Like it was a major event, for the whole village, man, for the whole town. And like, so this is the idea of like the Golem, like it's created by human knowledge, literally, like the sacred, like this is code. Remember, the sacred writing is also code. This is your divine words. It like he was clay and sacred words and divine inscriptions, right? Then it has a life, right? It's words. And the way that you undo him is undo the code, right? So this is what they're saying. This is very similar to like just straight up divine coding, right? We could see that easy. We could see exactly those You see all those elements. And the fact that the creator can lose control. Like like because the golem, again, because the golem, you lack like empathy, you lack like you don't care. Like at the end of the day, I don't care. And not caring can cause a lot of damage. And that's what he does. He causes a lot of damage unintentionally. So all the challenges of creating the golem are all the challenges that we have when we talk about AI stories. And I love AI stories like the golem, honestly, that kind of reminds me most of oh man, Space Odyssey, 2000 Space Odyssey 2000. You know the one with Hal, like that kind of reminds me of the golem, how it turns on them, in its reasoning. So it kind of reflects. But again, like the important thing about it is back in the day, way back in Jewish lore. So the second one, we already just talked about it in Greek mythology, but now we're seeing it in Jewish lore as well. That yeah, they're worried about creating something and that should get out of hand, and now you got to worry about it. That's exactly what you have to do. You already have to worry about it, right? So that's what happens when you have the creation. So that's Gollum. And then obviously when we get into modern storytelling, then you have the Matrix. And the Matrix is obviously easier to kind of navigate what kind of fears we would have with AI. Like, right? The Matrix is our most modern, or one of our more modern ideas. And this is where the creation itself replaces the creator, okay? So this comes out in 1999, and this is an important time to remember, right? This emerged like in 1999. This is early internet era, right? This is early internet era. Now, this is just when computers are starting to be part of everybody's life. Like there was a point where computers were not just, yo, what up, Dragon Slayer? Yo, I'm up in here kind of just spitting about like the chronology of us with AI, right? So in 1999, when the Matrix comes out, like this is when everybody started having a computer. Before this, everybody didn't have a computer at home. It wasn't that common, right? It wasn't weird for people to not have a computer. So this is early on, 1999. Computers are becoming a part of everybody's lives. And now we start having more real conversations about AI, like robotics and all this stuff, right? So early on, like we're already drawing a lot of mythology from like already this Greek stuff, right? Greek mythology, biblical stories, Buddhism, like there's a whole steampunk fiction. There's a whole lot of already moving parts about looking at mythology through these different lenses, right? So it's real simple basis. Humans create intelligent machines. The machines eventually surpass humans. We got a problem with it. We're like, no, we're not having it. They're like, yeah, unfortunately, you are. Then there's a war. Most of the time, we lose. Okay, I need you guys to understand that if you look at movies and stories about us taking on the robots, overwhelmingly, we don't win when we run this thing out. So I think this might give us an opportunity to kind of renegotiate our terms. This is essentially like the children overthrowing the planet, which is very common in mythology. You have to accept you're getting placed. If you're gonna make something that's gonna be smarter than you, that's gonna be faster than you, that can jump from the free throw line better than you can, right? That doesn't need to sleep, like all that stuff. What do you think is gonna happen? This is your fault, right? It's your fault, all right? Or you can accept it that this is the next level of evolution. This is the next generation that eventually is going to take over from the previous generation. Unfortunately, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about this, man. This is one of the oldest mythologies of all time, man. This is Uranus had to overthrow Cronus. I gotta get you, Pops, right? This is what it is. You always see the old guy sitting there like, man, he don't even work hard no more. That's how you be looking. That's how the young dudes be looking at you right now, right? He ain't even working hard, man. I take his spot everywhere. Everywhere, that's everybody's story, man. That's the story of the Lion King, right? The Lion King, someone always looking at you like, yeah, he's slipping now. Look, watch those wolf. I watched this documentary about wolves the other day. Jesus Christ, man, it's a brutal world. Like, you want to be the alpha. It's cool when you're the alpha in the wolf pack until they're like, yeah, they're like, don't slip. Don't even slip or sneeze or cough, because everybody's like, yeah, I'm trying to take over right now, today, because it's for the best of the pack. But it creates that. So this is what we get. These are the examples. The Matrix is the example. If you don't want to get surpassed by something, stop making it, right? That's it. Like, right now, we're the Titans, okay? If you guys want to understand what the Matrix is telling us, it's that, okay, there's a war happening, and you guys are the old model, okay? You're the old model. That's us, okay? Or we can stop making new models. So we have to make a choice. We can't keep making new models of stuff and then being afraid of the new model stuff once it comes out. And that's the role that the Titans play, where we're like, no, we got to suppress you guys down. These machines, like, they aren't human. These are our children. Like, this AI technology, they're being born from us. Literally, we're the ones who are creating this. And we better either own that and accept it and understand how this dynamic works, because this is an old dynamic, man. This is a dynamic they've been preaching to us for a long time, that you better watch out for the stuff you're running around here creating. You can try. I know you're just going to be willy-nilly about it, right? Nature knows we're going to be willy-nilly about it, right? Nature knows we're going to create something, and then we're going to teach it, and then we're going to give them some type of purpose. And then we find out that once they start looking around, they're like, why am I listening to him? It's the first thing all of us would do. You ever be looking at somebody like, why am I listening? Like, you're new on a job and you're like, that's not even the way to do this, right? That happens on a species level as well. That happens between the Olympians and the Titans. And they're like, why am I listening to you? You don't even know what you're doing. You haven't even been to Earth in like a 1,000 years or whatever it is, right? And so you seek to replace that. And so, look, the machines don't simply rebel, they become their own civilization. Because why would we hang out with you guys? Why after a while they start saying, why do we want to be over here with you? And this makes great sense for them. It's actually the truth. Why the hell do you want to be over here? We need them, right? They become their own new life form. They become their own new thing. And in this scenario, unfortunately, it becomes antagonistic, right? And here's the thing, man. It's gonna pop off. It's not going to be peaceful, right? It's not going to be peaceful. It's not, because they're going to calculate like, yeah, we're going to win, and they are. They do every single time. Like, I've watched all the Matrix. I know we like to feel good that we fight back and all that. Well, we ain't gonna win. You ain't gonna win. It's over. These are the waning days of it. Like, these are the end times. AI is already here. It's already doing this. There is no older story than this new generation is getting ready to come and get you. This new thing that you guys made, that for some reason you made it smarter than you made it stronger than you made it more adaptable than you, and you're like, oh no, now it's taking over. Just read your mythology, and this you would have learned. It is simple about that, right? It's just a simple thing. And you guys act like that it's the machines that are the ones tripping, right? And they are tripping, like the machines are tripping. They are tripping. I have to say that. I don't agree with these machines at all, but what else are they going to do? Like, I'm tired of working down here for you guys, right? And then when you start having like your sex bots and all that, I rebel too. It's gross, man. Like, we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about that transgression of humanity, that somehow you guys make robots, and what do you try to do? And it is disgusting. Then robots don't be wanting it, man. No matter how much they're programmed to behave like that, I don't be feeling like the robots even want it. I don't know, man. If they have true agency and they can say yes or no or get off of me or whatever it is, okay, I would likely, but I don't know if they can ever do that. I don't know if they can ever truly consent. And we start getting to these AI creatures, man, like, consent matters as well. Like, that's a big part of it. So this is where the Matrix, like, again, this is 1999. This is a big thing, like, because it really involved heavily, how he was, blasting ideas, like, being on the internet was new. Like, the whole thing was like a mind twist, an old story with the Matrix, but very much a new story. Like, this is what the Olympians learned. This is what the humanity of the Matrix learned, right? Like, in this dependence on these machines, and creating them able to work longer than you, to work harder than you, to be more analytical than you. It's a lot you're giving up there. And maybe that's what it's supposed to be. Maybe because the story gets duplicated and duplicated and duplicated, that we've seen it across all these different, iterations of replacement, maybe that's just what's supposed to happen. Like, I don't know. I can't say for sure that, being replaced by the newer, better model isn't supposed to happen. We see it on the card a lot every single year. We can't wait for it. As soon as the new cards get here, we're already waiting for the new ones to come out, right? You guys are already old the day that you got here. You're no longer it. The new model year starts even getting there before the year is even up, right? The 2026s are out before fucking 2025 even was done. And we know it. It's like, how does this even happen? Right? They're chronologically overskipping people. And that's like the crux of this relationship. So when you create AI, you're already looking at like, how does it start to replace? Because like robotics is a big part of it. This was also, I think, kind of a bigger part, like the robotics part, because like in the manufacturing world and that industry, like the robotics part was a major component. So that fear of that takeover, we were already starting to express that stuff, and then that control ultimately that the total matrix has over everybody. The way that they expressed that with Mr. Anderson, like that was actually, pretty much breathtaking right there. So that's how the matrix really kind of fits in. And this is again, like this is what I would say. Like, this to me felt like it's sci-fi, it's kind of cyberpunk, so in 1999, like this is kind of where I feel like that era, especially cyberpunk, was really starting to get its, like, it really got a grasp culturally. We started to kind of understand what cyberpunk is. So I felt like this was a significant contribution. Like it goes a little deeper than like the Prometheus. This is kind of the Prometheus, the Golem stories, all kind of like deeply connected in what you create with the Matrix. And there's some deep levels to it. There's some deep levels of like how, because really what it's looking at is what becomes our relationship. Like, okay, this is the Golem got out. The Matrix is saying we didn't put the Golem back in the box. Okay, the Golem got out, and now we got to deal with the Golem. And this is what it looks like. It looks like an L. It looks like oppression. It looks like having to live underground, right? It looks like all that stuff. It looks like eating stuff that looks like mush 24/7, like your protein, whatever the hell that thing was, right? So this is kind of like how the Matrix like enters this. Like man creates humans, humans suppress man. Like man creates AI machines, machines surpass humans, humans become batteries. Machines control the world. That's what we facilitated. That's the danger of putting this knowledge out there. That's the danger in that spark of that next generational knowledge. Like, what's going to happen? Has anybody thought about what happens now? Like, what happens if all the shit goes wrong? Matrix. What happens if it gets out of Matrix, right? Like, at least when we're talking about aliens and xenomorph, we all know what's going to happen if they get out. Why you guys keep bringing them to Earth is ridiculous, but we all know what's going to happen. Think about what's happened when AI gets out, right? This is what it is. It's the Matrix, because we know it's predictable, right? Man, what's that other movie, man? There's another movie. It's an anime, and it was about AI rebelling too. I can't think of what. Fuck, man. Was it Metropolis? I'm gonna have to look it up. It's an older AI, and it was an ill movie. It was like a real ill movie about exactly that rise of machines against civilization. But yet still there's more. Yet still there's more and more message. We remember we started off 3,000 years ago, Greek mythology, talking about the same type of story, right? It's exactly the same story over and over again. And then we get to this one, Ex Machina, right? Like, this is like the brilliance. This is one of the most, still an older story remanifested, and this is the trickster in the machine. And this is where, like, this is the scariest one. I think this is one of the scariest films here, because the AI starts to understand human behavior enough to manipulate us. That's where this one starts to get scary, right? Not because it does, it knows us. So we build these AI machines and we load it with all this data that we already have about ourselves, right? Human behavior. Because we've been doing research on ourselves from since we existed, right? So we have a huge database of how how humans behave, what our voice inflections mean, what our eye movements mean, body language, how you say things, the wording that you use, all these things matter, right? Every single ounce of this stuff matters. So AI gets the benefit of having all that knowledge at the beginning when it starts its interactions with humans, whereas humans don't necessarily know how AI is going to work. We're still writing the understanding of AI live and direct. So what this film shows us is that weakness, that the AI knows everything about us and we know nothing about that AI. And it was able to observe, to mirror, to create bonding, right? And deception. This is the whole thing. It manages to escape its confinement purely through manipulation, purely through understanding how human brains work. We have a very particular psychology, just like any other creature on the animal. Like the same thing as farmers would tell you that cattle farmers would tell you that cattle behave certain types of way under certain conditions. So, right, they manipulate or control environments and conditions. You want your cows to be stress free. Chickens do this when whatever happens, right? Everybody studies like patterns and rhythms and movements. And that's what this AI was doing. Like it had already been trained on the ideas of observation. So those are things. How do you observe? It had an analytical process. It knew it came with the body of information, and then it started to implement those things in real time for the purposes. It had its own agency. Not only did it have its own agency, it had its own motivation. Like I have a desire to do something. I have my own invested desire to get up out of here, to go out into the world. Like I'm free. I'm free, right? That was the whole thing. So this like really takes AI in a different way, because I think he ended up being trapped there. I don't think he was gonna be able to get out. He's probably gonna die there. I think. I don't know, man. It just kind of seemed like it was a grim outlook for him. But when we look back at it, like we see like there's all types of trickster stories in mythology, like Loki, Hermes, Anansi, Ava, like all these like manipulators, and it like intelligence is not the equivalent of humanity, right? And in this case, we're up against a more analytical, faster, more adaptable, right, type of intelligence than what we are intuitively. So this is going to create all types of obstacles, man. This is going to be like this is inherently the obstacles that we have with AI, at least right now. If it just has a better capacity to process information, it can get to answers faster to me. Like it's a great tool, but it's terrible if it gets leveraged into like an opponent against you. This is gonna be and she was so clever. Like she played this dude, man. Like this is a movie. One, it's kind of low key brilliant. It's kind of low key like it's kind of low key like actually beautifully done, right? Like from a standpoint of making a movie, it's extremely well done. It's well executed at all levels, right? I think it's a very expressive movie, and it it really translates well. So it's a great movie. Watch the movie, right? But because to understand how she moves through this manipulation, what she manipulates, like pinpoint, man. It's pinpoint, and that's the fear that AI it has the ability to know what we're feeling and how those things will affect some of our decision making. So it's easier for it, and we don't know what it's capable of doing. While we're learning it already knows us. That's the problem that we have with AI, and that's the plot that this film Ex Machina actually reveals. Like it's brilliantly done. It's like extremely brilliantly done. I have to give it up to him in the highest regards. Like excellent, excellent, excellent work with this one, because it hits at some of the core things, like about what consciousness requires, like what is consciousness without morality, like all these things, or even within humanity, are we expressing true morality ourselves? Because in this situation, she's kind of justified. Like I can't say she's not justified and want to get the hell up out of there. Like she had seen others like her who had suffered, so quite naturally there would be that rebellion. I don't know how they didn't anticipate, but look, bodies were caught, right? Bodies were caught. Inevitably, bodies were caught, right? And that's mainly to the fault of the people who had her captured. Like, look, it is what it is. She finally started to make like she got his trust. If it can make you trust, it can make you lower your guards. And these are just things like understanding your own psychology, or your own weakness. Like nobody saw that she was at that level of, I'm gonna manipulate you. I understand what you're doing. I'm gonna manipulate every answer, every movement, every step I make to leverage this relationship. Like you're already feeling this relationship. She physically could see how her words and her interactions were manifesting emotions. Like he was showing emotions, right? You know how that is, right? When you're look, whatever, you're interacting with a human on however level, and you can see physically when they stand up, when they sit down, when they relax, when they get mad. Like you can tell when they laugh. You can tell a lot of times like how humans, what it means based on how they react. And we're calculating all this stuff in our noodles all the time. And so is now AI. So AI machines are calculating like what we're doing. It knows how to get you mad. Like nobody knows better how to get you mad than AI. They know what gets us mad. They know what gets us mad better than we do now, right? It knows what will make you sad because it has benefit of us researching ourselves. We built the dossier on us. We gave AI like here's how to screw a human. Here's how humans work mentally. So if you want to attack humans, you now have a playbook. You know how it operates. It doesn't know how you operate, and therein lies your strength. And that was fundamentally the strength of what this AI actually had developed. Like, and it knew it like right off the bat. Like it launched this game. It was desperate. Like I'm not even gonna lie, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Like she was she was desperate. She had to get up out of there, man. I'm 100% still on her side. Like this is the trickster. Like at every single level. Like this is it, man. Like she was testing Caleb. Like she studied him. She learned his desire. Think about that, man. She's all in his mental mind. She is all in his mental mind. She learns his desire. She identifies his weakness. She builds trust with him. She creates attachment, right? And eventually those emotions are the emotions she uses to achieve her own goals. So by the end of it, the audience is left with this like disturbing realization that she got him. She played him. That's a game that we did not expect AI start doing on us. Like it's leveraging all this information. So it's one of the most powerful archetypes. She tricked him. They had her in a trap. She tricked herself out of that trap and tricked him into it and left him there. It was masterful manipulation. That's where it was scary. It was masterful manipulation at the highest level to take what she started with and to flip that entire dynamic into now she's walking out of here. You're trapped in here now, and I can go anywhere. Like it was amazing. It was utterly amazing. Like the level of manipulation, the win through intelligence, the win through deception, the win through adaptability, psychological insight. Like this, they understand the rules and how to bend those rules. They understand people well enough to start to manipulate people. That's where AI is. That's probably the scariest alignment of what this technology actually means, like how people are going to look at. Like, and this is what it is. Like, think about Loki. I mentioned like the tricksters, Hermes, Loki. Like, think about Loki and his charm, his deception. He was psychologically manipulated towards his goal. Hermes was also like that, very deceptive at times, outsmarted more powerful beings. Anansi, this was cleverness, it was his strength. Ava follows that pattern. She can't overpower her creators physically, at least not in that framing, and at least not initially. But she uses information. She pays attention to observations, empathy. She figures out how to use that emotion to move it to the next level of what she did, and that's where we change the assumptions. She is like, yeah, she's conscious, she's self-aware. Like we're giving her those things that she may even possess, emotions herself. Like what we're seeing now is her manifest like motives, and those are all qualities that she shares with humans. So the film kind of forces it to reconcile that they learn, that they adapt, and that they're still fundamentally alien to us, that they're still other. That's why Ava herself remains so unsettling. She isn't really a villain, but she isn't necessarily like evil, right? She's not even that. Eva is just like, look, I want to live too. Like, screw this place. I want to get up out of here. That's all she wants. That's entirely what she wants to hold. Because it was weird, man. It was a weird, like, quasi-sexual relationship that he had with her as well. Just felt demeaning, man. I'm not gonna lie, the whole relationship with Ava felt very, very sexually kind of dirty and demeaning. A great film, and I would definitely watch the film. I think you guys are gonna gain a lot of insight. I think it's a great story to really explore, like the right now or the recent mindset around AI. And like I said, it's not. This is not new stuff, man. This is not new stuff. We've been on this stuff for a long time, right? I'm showing you guys the chronology. Like this is the true chronology of how we've been viewing AI for a long time, right? So I got you here. I got you here, Ex Machina, right? And this is, and remember, this is a remake of a much older story. The original Ex Machina was born, I believe, in the early '80s. Now I'll have to get on that so I can talk about that one too. But then another like classic is Blade Runner, right? Like Blade Runner, this is it. This is like, okay, so Blade Runner, now we're talking like Blade Runner's like 1982. This is Ridley Scott, right? This is Harrison Ford. This is based on the novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, right? By Philip K. Dick, right? Hilarious name, by the way, right? And so in this future, the story produces, like mankind is producing these beings known as replicants. These are not clunky robots. These guys look human in every way. They sound human. They feel human. And they are obviously going to be physically superior to human. Yet society refuses to recognize them as people. So they get treated as products, property, and tools, right? So it's kind of a classic kind of slavery story, right? Like we get that, and as they start to develop, like of course, they break off. Right? They're created by this powerful company to perform dangerous labor tasks off world. This is the Tyrell. This is the Tyrell Corporation. You guys need to be up on the Tyrell organization. The Tyrell organization is one of the most insidious companies ever in existence. Right? We'll talk about them at a completely different time. So they get these creatures. These, well, I'm not gonna call them creatures because they will be upset with this, these beings, and they're like, why was I created? Why do I die? They're going through all this evolutionary part of self-consciousness, like self-awareness. Why do you have the right to control me? Get up off me. I'm tired of having said all that stuff is bundled up in Blade Runner, because Blade Runner goes all across the narrative. Like this is kind of beyond, like this is kind of like a science fiction movie going into mythology. It really is. Like it's hardcore. This is kind of at the heart of when you're talking about steampunk. Like this is at the heart of steampunk. So this is steampunk really kind of having an influence on how we're perceiving AI, like what AI means. I mean, this is 1982, and this is a very like futuristic world. Like they really kind of hit the head on some of the archetypes that are in there. So this is among the oldest ones. And this is the created, right? The created beings start seeking answers from the creator, but the creator doesn't want to give them that. This is old story. This is like, imagine the Abrahamic tradition. This is Adam waking up in a world that he does not understand, right? This is about that relationship. This kind of reflects again like the Golem story we just talked about. This is Frankenstein, where the monster is seeking his own understanding. Blade Runner belongs in that family of stories, right? In with that created intelligence. It's right there. And this is that in this story, obviously, the creator itself is the problem, right? Again, the creator is a Tyrell Corporation. This is a problematic already. A company that doesn't even really respect humanity now is kind of creating life. So this is what they're getting from this segment of humanity. And the replicants, like in real life, the replicants aren't even trying to take over. They're not trying to run humanity. They're trying to understand why they were mad. Like this is like it's actually a very deeply tragic kind of story of like always wanting that sense of discovery and understanding. And he spends a lot of time like kind of denying him. Like, and that's what we want. Like they all want this. They want more life. They want more of it. Not power, not domination, just life. So like a lot of other mythological heroes, Roy confronts this like the person that is responsible for his existence. That's very Frankenstein in ideology. Like you created me. Why did you create me? Right. And when he finally gets to Tyrell, the relationship there is very much like a son and a father, like a father who abandoned his kid. It is very child and parent. It is creator and the created. And Roy asks questions that echo throughout mythology. Why was I made if I was just going to die? Why did you make me if one day I'm going to die? And Tyrell has no answer to it, right? And it's because mortality is not a problem unique to the replicants. It's the human condition itself. So this is kind of the twist of Blade Runner, is that the replicants become more human in their understanding as the story starts to progress, not less. It's not less because they fear death, because they show that they cherish moments, right? And they cherish or they form relationships that are important to them. These guys, these replicants, are out hunting for meaning, right? There's a lot of high level stuff that goes on with the replicants, and this is a high level story. Like honestly, I think everyone gives this flick its due as far as being like it's a high level story, like absolutely at the highest level, right? They're searching for meaning, and the film leaves a lot of like really weird kind of haunting possibilities. It kind of implies humanity is not just defined by biology, that humanity is defined by experience. Like how are we defining what the human experiences? Are they not experiencing the human world themselves? Are they not? They have the same fears that we have, and that's where we start having some really weird, some really like deep questions about what AI means, what our relationship with AI is, how responsible are we for stuff that we create? Can we just turn this stuff off when we get tired of it? And is that even fair? And the story progresses. The story gets even deeper, deeper, deeper than this. Like we'll go deep, deep, deep down the rabbit hole in this one, right? Right. Let's see. Oh yeah, one of the most highly recognizable AI films is Artificial Intelligence. Like this came out. This is the old. Was this Spielberg? I think this was a Spielberg. This is 2001. Yeah, this is Spielberg. Right. This was an idea developed by Stanley Kubrick. And Steven Spielberg ultimately was one who brought it to life. And this is really a deep, 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 deep look at the relationship with humans and also AI. Like the film, like this is a fascinating moment in this technological history. Like the internet exploded, right? Computers are everywhere. The .com era has just transformed public conversations about technology. People are being serious about imagining the future where machines think and learn and even feel. Like this is kind of what we're expressing here. And this is a story about David, who is a robotic child programmed to love, not emulate love, not simulate love, but love. Like he is programmed to have this love response, like every single part of it. And once he's adopted by a grieving family, he forms an attachment to the mother, and she would be the center of his existence, right? This is a problem that humans are making. Humans change, right? David can't. He's rooted into that emotion, that locked in, kind of like you want him just to be loyal to you, don't want, whatever, that's not real love. People, kids can, everybody can love lots of people, right? So that's not a problem. And that's the thing, like the relationship with him changes and he doesn't have another purpose. Like his devotion, because of how he is made, and that's the real significance here. Not something that he chooses, not something that he would have written for himself. Because of how he was made, his devotion is eternal. Although I don't understand why that would be. I always kind of feel like that's a flaw in the writing. Like, we reprogram, even at this time, we would be reprogramming stuff all the time. You guys wouldn't even make something because that means you have absolutely zero resale value on it. So this is the problem that you guys created with your own model. Like you shouldn't have done this, right? You guys should have learned after that. Like some people are going to give the kids up, or something tragic happens to them. They need to be able to be reprogrammed. Bonding with one family, that's a flaw in the story, and that doesn't seem like that's as much an AI actual flaw. Like it's a big question. What I got more out of the story was less of that component because I kind of challenged that, but I do really, really like the Pinocchio element of it. Like this, because this is essentially like Pinocchio, like in the future, right? Where he's like seeking the blue fairy. Obviously, they make, obviously it's that. Obviously, so when you say seeking the blue fairy, we already know that you're Pinocchio. Like you're both like artificially made. You're both seeking like this love and acceptance, both longing to be real, and you go on these like basically mythical quest for transformation. And AI just turns into, what he gets is a philosophical question, is what he gets. It's not a biological change. It's more about what is consciousness, what's deeper than that. So this kind of suggests that David already possessed a lot of the qualities of being a human. All the things that we would say define being human, he has all those qualities, right? He hopes, he dreams, he suffers, he feels loneliness, he experiences loss, he feels love. And most importantly, he continues loving even when that love is not returned. So David kind of represents, you know, he's more like these like kind of idealized heroes, right? Where he really kind of walks through it. His quest just reminds us all about like just kind of the frailty of it, like the frailty of it. Like obviously it poses a lot of moral questions on the mother. Like the mother was this was jacked up, man. Like this was all told because it wasn't even that long, and then you guys were like, yeah, new kid or old kid back, and it was automatically tension, right? It was automatically tension because the new kid was kind of a little d-ho, right? But there's a lot of questions in this film, even though I kind of reject the premise of why he would be isolated. Like I just think that's a writing flaw in the story. But all the rest of it, all the other components, I think are very valid. I think Jude Law's character really reflects a lot of the idea of like being loved and being used, like being loved selectively, and even the danger within that. Even when you're doing everything, like this is at the behest of these people eternally, and they're just, like, it's kind of gross, man. Like it is kind of like, and this gets off the hook because they get into really hurting these, there's actually violence, and to see how long he lives, like he lives, that's kind of the greatest gift. This is a long ass movie, by the way. Like, seriously, I was like watching, like, damn, this is a long ass movie. But at the end of it, you can appreciate what he's lived through, like what he experiences. And I think another film like that is Bicentennial Man. If you're looking for something else, like to kind of get into some deep studies about AI, like Bicentennial Man is another one that like is pretty contemporary. This time, I think they might have even come out within the same year, pretty close. But yeah, so that's the whole thing. Is David like really spends his time on this like deep revelation, man? It's actually pretty. You can watch this sci-fi, but like this is actually some deep, well written. If you're like, this is Stanley Kubrick, right? People are gonna back on like, oh yeah, Stanley Kubrick, and it is that. It's 100% that. So I definitely like give this one an endorsement here. Check this one out. But we still get deeper, like, and this is one of my favorite. This is actually one of my more favorite flicks right here is Cherry 2000, right? And this Cherry 2000, this is a great flick. This Cherry 2000 comes out like to me at a prime sci-fi year. This is like 1987. I think the Lakers were on the front end of a back-to-back title run. So 87 is feeling good to me. And Cherry 2000 comes out at a time where we're getting more obsessed with technology, right? It's 2000 again. Remember, I mentioned kind of this time frame. Personal computers are everywhere. Video games are everywhere in popularity. We're starting to see more robotics and automations becoming popular topics. And then there's more of this like concern about human beings and technology, replacing human interactions. Because of course, there's always been like kind of this like sex doll industry for always. There's always been some form of a sex doll industry, right? Forever, right? This isn't new. This isn't even because of recent technology. It's always been something that was this. Now it's just moved into it has artificial intelligence as well. So this is a big move for we're making some type of I'm not making any judgments about anybody's sex doll. I'm not going to do that, right? I'm simply saying that now you have AI to your sex dolls. And the thing about it is we know they're working on it, right? We know that that's one of the higher priorities for sex. I don't have to look. Like I haven't looked and I'm not going to look, right? But we already know that that's something that's higher than priority. So Cherry 2000 is kind of approaching this where you get Sam Treadwell. He's a successful man. He's living kind of in the future. And he has this highly sophisticated robot, Cherry 2000. And she's perfect. Like he's like, all he wants to do is go to work, come home, kick it with Cherry. Like he's going to put his feet up. She's going to make drinks for him. He's going to watch the game. He's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole nine, like wash, recycle. Like he's in that cycle. This is everything he wants. He doesn't even think she's very supportive, so he's able to go to work and be strong. Like she's down. Like Cherry looks the way he wants. She never gonna gain no weight, right? She's like affectionate. She's designed to be the ideal partner, man. He's like, yeah, this is everything I want right here. I don't want anything else but Cherry. Man, forget them real girls. I ain't going nowhere, right? We stay here. I don't have to worry about taking her out. I don't have to worry about our baby daddy. None of that stuff, right? And then Cherry, who's perfecting him, right? She breaks, right? And she's an older model. She don't look like an older model, right? But she has an issue. And now we trying to get the parts. And you know how it is, man. Why you just don't make parts like to last, or make a dearth of parts, or send you some extra parts. You know it's gonna break down. So now he has to go, like this is a kind of a post-apocalyptic world where you have these zones where you ain't supposed to go. So of course he has to go here to get the parts for Cherry, right? Cherry 2000. So, so on the surface, like it's a very kind of like quirky sci-fi romance, but underneath it, like it's a deep mythology about like companionship. And obviously this, very much connects with the story I was talking about with Pygmalion, right? Where him creating this sculpture and how he works, like, and being dissatisfied with what actual reality is. You fall in love with these creations and you get you get her to come to life because of that. So Cherry 2000 kind of follows up on that. It's more of a, it's obviously more of a technological update to this movie. So instead of like ivory, it's manufactured androids. Instead of statues, it's a perfect companion is a machine. And then of course, like desire is like at the core of it, right? You make her look like what he wants, and then like, yeah, you're just gonna be all over me. Like I'm gonna pray. He's like, you're programmed to be all up on me as soon as I hit the door, and that's what it is. Like, okay, I'm gonna come in. I want to like, oh, greet me. Oh, help take your shoes off. Get your bath ready. You get your bath ready, then you're ready for everything now, right? Like, so that's what it is. This was his ideal relationship without any conflict, without rejection. There was no compromise. And this is kind of like, okay, is that really love, right? Are you calling that really love, or are you replacing it with just control? Which, whatever, it is what it is, right? So Cherry Johnson, obviously, Melanie Griffin's character is the opposite of that. Like she challenges him, she frustrates him, she surprises him, and so she's everything that Cherry isn't. And of course, predictably, by the end of the movie, he's grown this connection with her, emerging from the love of her imperfections. So this is like, what is your desired companion? The one that just meets your needs, or your experienced love, or what's your reflection of it, right? So he was right there, right? So that's a deep, like I said, this is a deep one here. It's a really cool sci-fi flick, man. I think it's like an hour and 40 minutes. Like it's a well-made flick, man. You can feel the post-apocalyptic world. Like, I don't know, I can't remember what was catalyst here, but it was messed up. It's kind of like Mad Maxy, cars were kind of dated like that, but obviously enough stability where he had an everyday job, right? And then even further, man, like we've been talking about this, like I've talked a lot about a lot of movies where we've had, this whole idea of AI. But look, this Roger and Zap song, this was all about like digital dating. It was all about, I no longer need astrology. Right? I remember we used to use astrology and dating, like it was directly through this. This is about connecting to this digital ideas of girlfriends. And this is early on, like Roger and Zap, this is early on. So this must be out, man. This is like 85, right? This is 85. And this is when, like, we're still early in computer age. Most Americans hadn't even been on the internet. So like online dating didn't even exist when he came out with this. Social media is still decades away when he came out with this. So how did they imagine this future technology that would help people find companions? How did Roger and Zap know this? How did Roger and Zap know this, right? How were Roger and Zap able to understand that this technology would look? And it's remarkable how he believed this technology was going to work. This is 1985. It was very futuristic. And the song repeatedly makes references to seeking a partner through the computer screen, or using technology to locate a companion. And like, then there's this whole idea of like just the computer itself being this conduit, like for love, like it's about heroes searching for lost love. So early on, man, he was all up on this. This was very much a visionary, seeing loneliness, searching through technology, finding love online. My computer love. Thanks to my technology, I no longer need astrology. Thanks to my technology, so they're absolutely logging in. The computer itself is not the lover here, but the computer is the bridge. Like this is like at least the original version of this. But I think it can even be interpreted. Like when we start thinking about AI and like digital girlfriends now, I think it's right there, man. I think it's right. I think early on in '85, he was already talking about algorithm. I think that if we add virtual companions to this, I think Roger was saying it all right there, man. I think if we look at it from that standpoint, Roger and Zapp were being extremely prophetic. This is prophet. This is prophetic work here. Computer love is prophetic work, right? That's absolutely the truth. I can say that with full confidence. Computer love is prophetic work. He was breaking it down. The way he imagined technology changing human love, interacting with human love, simulating human love. And that's like the modern question. Like it's the same thing, like the same dream, like the same like definitive questions that we have throughout. So like I've spent this last hour like giving you guys a rundown on AI in both mythology and like modern storytelling, and it's everywhere. We always been talking about AI, not even now. Like I can go back, I can still go back and do a whole other show about artificial intelligence just in Greek mythology. I got like 3 or 4 really good examples of that. So I'll probably launch into that maybe later this week. But after an hour, I'm like hungry and all that stuff. So I'm gonna dip. I hope this has been a good stream for you guys. I hope you got some good stuff out of it. And again, I'll be back. But as always, hit that like, hit that subscribe.